Welcome to my YouTube channel Basketball Official. The story of a basketball game, of a series, of a legacy, is often told in broad strokes. We speak of final scores, of MVP trophies, of parades and podium speeches. We chronicle the sweep of history with the wide brush of victory and defeat. But within those grand narratives exists a finer, more intricate truth, a story written not in chapters but in single, fleeting moments of pure, unadulterated execution. It is a story written in leather and nylon, in the arc of a ball and the snap of a net. It is the story of every bucket. For Aya Wilson, a player whose very existence on the court feels like a theorem of dominance being proven and reproven, each point scored in the WNBA Finals is not merely a statistic added to a tally. It is a punctuation mark in an ongoing argument for greatness, a brick laid in the foundation of a legend. To examine every Aya Wilson bucket in the finals is to deconstruct the anatomy of a champion, to understand not just that she scored, but how, when, and why. It is to witness the evolution of a superstar into an immortal, one possession at a time. Her first finals bucket arrived in 2020, a season unlike any other, played in the Wubble of IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. The world was fractured, the atmosphere surreal, but the basketball was fiercely, brilliantly real. The Las Vegas Aces, led by Wilson in her MVP season, faced the seasoned, ruthless Seattle Storm. The stage was set, the pressure a tangible force. That first score was not a thunderous dunk or a dramatic three. It was a fundamental, almost quiet declaration. It came from the left block, a place that would become her personal office. She received the entry pass, her body creating a barrier between the ball and her defender. A single, powerful dribble into the middle of the lane, a drop step that created a sliver of space, and then a soft, right-handed jump hook that kissed off the glass and through the net. In that moment, the sound of the ball swishing was the sound of arrival. It was the sound of a young star announcing she belonged on this stage, that her regular season dominance was not a fluke, but a prelude. That hook shot was a weapon forged in countless hours in empty gyms, a move so reliable it was almost mundane in its efficiency. But in the context of the finals, it was profound. It was Aya Wilson establishing her baseline, her thesis statement. I am here, I am skilled, and I will score on you with the most basic, unstoppable tools in the game. The buckets that followed in that 2020 series against Seattle were often painted with the hues of frustration and relentless effort. The Storm were a juggernaut, and they threw double teams, physicality, and the legendary defense of Breanna Stewart at Wilson. Her points became battles. A putback after fighting through two boxouts, muscling the ball back up and in as bodies collided around her. A face-up jumper from the elbow, a moment of space seized and exploited before the trap could arrive. A drive from the high post, where she used her startling agility for a player of her size to get a half step, absorb the contact, and finish with a contorted, off-balance layup. Each of these scores was a lesson. They were not the easy, flowing baskets of a regular season blowout. They were points carved out of granite. They taught her the specific, heightened intensity of the finals. They revealed the level of physical and mental fortitude required. A bucket in Game 2, a tough, fall-away jumper over two defenders as the shot clock expired, was a testament to her will. It didn't change the outcome of the game, but it added another layer to her understanding. Every shot contested, every inch of space fought for, these experiences, these hard-earned points, were deposits in the bank of her competitive maturity. The Aces would ultimately fall in a sweep, but Wilson's scoring ledger from that series was a logbook of a warrior learning the dimensions of the ultimate battlefield. 2 years later, in 2022, the buckets tasted different. They were infused with the confidence of a reigning MVP and the collective hunger of a team that had been to the mountaintop, seen its sheer face, and was now equipped to climb it. The opponent was the Connecticut Sun, a tough, physical, and deeply talented team led by Jonquil Jones and Alyssa Thomas. The narrative was no longer about a rival, it was about coronation. And Aya Wilson's scoring was the central instrument of that coronation. Her first bucket of the 2022 finals was a statement of intent. It was a mid-range jumper from the top of the key, a shot she had honed to a lethal edge. Catch, rise, release, a fluid, unbothered motion that resulted in a perfect swish. There was no hesitation, no trial run. It was the shot of a player who knew she was the best on the floor and was simply initiating the proceedings. This was a new version of Wilson. The lessons from 2020 had been absorbed and synthesized. The frustration had been alchemized into fuel. The buckets in this series showcased her expanded arsenal and her basketball IQ operating at its highest frequency. She was no longer just a post force, she was the hub of the Aces offense. There was the pick-and-pop three-pointer in Game 1, a weapon that stretched the defense to its breaking point and left defenders in an impossible quandary. Do you drop back and give her the open jumper, or do you step up and leave Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum, or Jackie Young a runway to the rim? Then came the devastating drives from the perimeter. A pump fake to get a closing defender in the air, one powerful dribble into the lane, and an explosive finish at the rim, often through contact. These were not just 2 points, they were demoralizing acts of violence against the opponent's defensive scheme. Each and one opportunity was a dagger, a public demonstration of her physical superiority and technical precision. Perhaps the most telling buckets of the 2022 Finals came in the critical moments of Game 4 with the championship on the line. The Sun were refusing to go away, matching the Aces blow for blow in a brutal, physical contest. With the game hanging in the